Good evening, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen B, and you're tuned in live to the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tonight we are going to talk about the Browns and their big win over the Texans. And unfortunately, then we will talk some more injuries and what's coming next and where things stand for the Browns this season and in the playoff run. We will then talk about some Ohio State football. They are playing a bowl game this week. And we will wrap things up in the futbol arena with some crew news, some signings, and the 2024 schedule release. Then we will talk some basketball with the Cavs and the Charge, and more injury news, and some college basketball. And then we will move on to some hockey with the Blue Jackets and the Monsters, and we'll wrap things up with some Guardians news. But before we get started, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Planet Jerky. Be sure to check them out on Instagram at Planet Jerky, and you can also check out their website, planetjerky.net, where you can order their delicious premium beef brisket jerky. And pick some of that up for your New Year's celebration, possibly, or beyond New Year's. It is delicious, and it is gluten-free. So be sure to hop on planetjerky.net and check that out and order yourself some delicious premium beef brisket jerky. Also, be sure to check out IE Sports Radio on all of the socials at IE Sports Radio, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and the like. Be sure to check out the IE Sports Radio X page to vote for the finalists in the Hall of Fame voting. And get your votes in. There are 2 remaining categories or groups of people to vote for, so be sure to hop on there and get your votes in the next day or so. And be sure to check out our website at iesportsradio.com, where you can catch our blog, the Hall of Fame Fans of the Week. You can also chat with the hosts in the forum. And there are pages for all of the different shows where you can get a little bio on each of the hosts of the different shows. So be sure to check that out. And without further ado, let's get into those Browns. So the Browns, as I already stated, played the Texans on Sunday. And they won 36-22. The game was not as close as the score. The Texans got some garbage points in the second half when the Browns pulled all of their starters. They ended up putting them back in after the Texans offense marched right down the field and scored 2 touchdowns on the Browns with their second string defense in. But all in all, it was a very good game for the Browns. Joe Flacco went 27 for 42 with 368 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 2 interceptions, which really didn't matter that much. The Texans didn't get any points off of them, and the second one was an interception in the end zone because, as I will get to shortly, Dustin Hopkins was hurt and they could not kick a field goal, so they had to go for the touchdown on 4th down, and it ended up being an interception. Amari Cooper had 11 receptions for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is the first Browns wide receiver to record back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He also now has the most receiving yards by a Browns wide receiver on the road and the most receiving yards by a Browns wide receiver in a single game, surpassing a Josh Gordon who had 261. Dustin Hopkins was injured during the game. He has a hamstring injury and was out most of the game and has been already ruled out for the Jets game on Thursday. The Texans had a kickoff return for a touchdown, and Dustin Hopkins attempted to make the tackle on that return, and that is when he injured his hamstring. Corey Bojorquez took over on kickoffs, but he was not confident enough to kick field goals, and the other issue was he is the holder, so they did not have somebody else to act as holder in order for him to attempt to kick the field goals. So, the Browns finished the game doing 2-point conversions and going for it on 4th down. So, that was interesting. But Corey Bojorquez ended up getting hurt also with the extra workload, and he has a quad injury and is questionable for Thursday. DTR went in for a couple of trick plays and ended up on IR with a hip injury. So, PJ Walker has been signed back to the active roster. They signed kicker Riley Patterson to the practice squad and punter Matt Hack as well to the practice squad. I would assume Riley Patterson will be elevated from the practice squad for the game on Thursday. And possibly Matt, depending on what Bojorquez's status is come probably tomorrow evening. Juan Thornhill did return to practice today, so that is some positive news. After Bojorquez got injured, D'Anthony Bell handled the kickoff, so it was quite an adventure on Sunday. Both Bojorquez and D'Anthony Bell had very interesting kickoffs. They were kind of like squib kicks. They just kind of bounced down the field. But, I mean, they didn't return any of them, so that's good. The first team defense gave up 0 points. Before the Browns pulled their starters, the only points the Texans had scored was that kickoff return for a touchdown. And then they had 2 touchdown drives against the Browns' second team defense. So the first team defense played amazingly well and unfortunately had to go back in. They were trying to rest guys as much as possible since we do play again on Thursday, but they ended up having to put them back in because they didn't want to give away the game. But the good news is the Browns clinch a playoff berth with a win on Thursday against the Jets. And I just saw earlier that Zach Wilson has been ruled out and Trevor Siemian will get the start for the Jets. Anthony Walker Jr. had a knee scope which kept him out of the game against the Texans, and it is possible he will go on IR. I have not seen any updates on that as of yet, so we will keep an eye on that and see if he ends up getting back to the lineup or not. Joe Flacco has more yards at 1,321 and more touchdowns at 10 than any other quarterback since week 13. And Joe Flacco is up once again for FedEx Air Player of the Week. It is the 3rd week in a row, so be sure to go vote. I have the tweet, or whatever you want to call it, the X post, pinned on my show account at the Show of the Land IE. So hop on X and get your votes in for Joe Flacco for FedEx Air Player of the Week. You can also vote for Anthony Walker Jr. for Walter Payton Man of the Year. So be sure to do that too. I do not have that one pinned, but you can find it on the Browns page. You can also find it if you scroll through my posts on the show page today. So be sure to get on and vote for our guys. And be sure you're retweeting for Pro Bowl votes for our guys. Amari Cooper for sure deserves to be in the Pro Bowl, as does Dustin Hopkins, even though he may not finish the season. He has been the best kicker in the league. So get him in there. And of course, my guy, Charlie Hewlett. There is no better long snapper in the league. Get Charlie to the Pro Bowl, guys. All right. That's it for the Browns. Well, actually, it's not. They play the Jets on Thursday. And like I said, they can clinch a playoff berth. They are still in play for the number 1 seed. However, in order for that to happen, Miami has to lose to Buffalo in 2 weeks. And Baltimore has to lose to Miami and to Pittsburgh. So, I don't know if it'll happen, but it is possible. And it is also still possible for the Browns to take the division and not be the number 1 seed. But again, Baltimore would have to lose both games. So, we will see what happens there. I am perfectly fine with the number 5 seed. But it would be nice to have a home playoff game. Because I can't even tell you when the last time we had one was. So that would be pretty great. But, you know, playoff berth with all of these injuries is pretty special in and of itself. So we will take whatever we get. But the key is for the Browns to just win. So on Thursday, we're going to go 1-0. And then next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, the following Sunday or Saturday. I don't think that game's been scheduled yet for sure yet. It's either Saturday or Sunday. Against the Bengals, we got to go 1-0 there too. So that's the plan. Hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed. No more freaking injuries. Think we've had more than our fair share. But anyhow, on to some college football. On Friday, December 29th, Ohio State, number 7, Ohio State, will take on number 9, Missouri, at the Cotton Bowl. So, let's go Bucks. And for the Columbus Crew, the 2024 schedule has been released. And they will open the season in Atlanta at Atlanta United on February 24th. The Crew have also acquired midfielder Marino Henestroza via transfer from Club de Futbol Pachuca of Mexico. So, welcome, Marino, to the Columbus Crew. They also signed free agent midfielder Derek Jones through 2025 with a 2026 option, and they signed free agent goalkeeper Nicholas Hagen for 2024 with options through 2026. And in the chat, Taryn Rodriguez, host of our Set Point Volleyball show, which was just about an hour ago on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. He is also the host of our SoCal Supreme Sports show, so be sure to check him out for everything volleyball and everything Southern California sports. And he says the Browns' playoff chances are looking brighter. The Jets are a tricky foe. What they lack in a QB, they make up for in every other department. I agree. the Jets have been a trap game for the Browns almost every season lately. So I am a little leery, especially going on the short week with no kicker and no punter. But hopefully they can pull it out. They built some confidence with that big win in Houston this weekend. There has been so much talk about the Browns defense not traveling well. So it was huge for the defense to play so well on the road and build up that confidence and prove to everyone else what they already know, that they're the best defense in the NFL. And he also says, is Marvin Harrison Jr. playing for Ohio State? I have not heard one way or the other, so I would assume he is playing, because I think it would be big news if he wasn't. So as far as I know, everybody is playing, well, with the exception of the guys that left in the transfer portal, of course. So I would assume Devin Brown will be starting at quarterback since Kyle McCord is gone to Syracuse. But yes, as far as I know, Marvin Harrison is playing. Like I said, I have not heard otherwise. So I would assume he is a go, but I guess we'll see come Friday for sure if he plays or not. It'll be interesting how this game ends up playing out. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State ends up losing, since they lost a few starters to the transfer portal. But we'll see. We'll see. I will be rooting for Ohio State, of course. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it does not go our way. But that is going to wrap things up for all things football and football. So I am going to take a short break, and then I will be back to talk basketball with the Cavs and the Charge and some college basketball on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff from my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
You're back live with Jen B on the Show of the Land, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So let's talk some basketball. So on Wednesday, the Cavs played the Utah Jazz here in Cleveland, and they won 124-116. The starting five were Craig Porter Jr., Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Jarrett Allen. Donovan Mitchell was out due to illness and is still out, and I just saw a report that he may still be out for tomorrow's game. And I'll tell you what, if he has what I have, I'm not surprised, because I'll tell you what, this thing will not go away, whatever it is. This bug is nasty. You might be able to hear it in my voice. It is crazy. It will not go away. And I literally hit mute just in time to have a coughing fit a few minutes ago. So it's not fun. If he has it, I could not imagine playing basketball with this bug. Because just walking up and down the stairs is torture. Because I can't breathe. But anywho, Sam Merrill led with 27 points. So way to go, Sam. He is really stepping up, except now he's hurt, so we won't talk about that because, everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. If you play for Cleveland, you're hurt. If you play for Columbus, you're probably hurt. Anywho, Thursday, they played the New Orleans Pelicans and lost 123-104. The starting five were again Craig Porter Jr., Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Jarrett Allen. Dean Wade led with 20 points, and Craig Porter Jr. led with 11 assists. Saturday, they played the Chicago Bulls in Chicago, and they won 109-95. The starting five were again Craig Porter Jr., Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Jarrett Allen. Max Strus led with 26 points, and Jarrett Allen recorded another double-double at 19 points and 17 rebounds. Their next games will be tomorrow at the Dallas Mavericks, Friday at the Milwaukee Bucks, and Friday is not at. It is in Cleveland against the Milwaukee Bucks, and Monday at the Toronto Raptors. So hopefully they can get a few more wins in there. with all these injuries. Haven't heard any updates on Mobley and Garland, so not sure where things stand with the two of them and when they may be returning, but I don't think we're even close to their windows of 6 to 8 weeks, so we've got a little time, but hopefully Donovan Mitchell is on the mend and will be back, and hopefully Sam Merrill's injury isn't too significant and he can get back. I believe it's a high ankle sprain for Sam, but we'll see. The Charge are missing a few players because they are with the Cavs in Craig Porter Jr., Isaiah Mobley, and Imoni Bates, who was called up after Sam Merrill got hurt. So they played Wednesday at G League Ignite and won 100-88. Pete Nance led with 24 points and also had a double-double with 12 rebounds. Friday, they played the Oklahoma City Blue and lost 121-103. Zaire Smith led with 17 points, and Pete Nance had another double-double with 15 points and 12 rebounds. Their next games are Friday and Saturday against the Long Island Nets. In college basketball, Ohio State played New Orleans and won 78-36. Their next game is Saturday against West Virginia. Akron played Gardner-Webb and won 94-90. Their next game is Saturday against St. Bonaventure. Kent State played Oregon and lost 84-70. Their next game is Saturday at St. Mary's, California. Youngstown State played Navy and won 75-65. Their next game is Sunday against Oakland. Cleveland State played Western Michigan and won 90-77. And their next games are Thursday against Oakland and Sunday against IUPUI. And that is, because I had to look it up, Indiana University of Purdue, University, Indianapolis. I think. If I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anywho. Mount Union played Berea College and won 93-64. And then they played St. John's and won 76-65. Their next games are none. They don't play again until January, so we'll talk about them next week. But that is going to wrap things up for basketball. So, you know what? I'm going to throw in the Guardians news because why not? I just have to find it. It's here. They just made a trade today. They traded pitcher Cody Morris to the Yankees for outfielder Estevan Florial. So, best of luck to Cody Morris in New York, and let's see what Estevan Florial can do for us, for our Guardians. That is all the news on the Guardians. So, I am going to take another short break before we get into some hockey and wrap things up for the night. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, but I will be back after a short break to talk hockey with the Blue Jackets and the Monsters on the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, it's your boy, the SoCal Saint, the host of the premier professional wrestling podcast online today, the IE Elite Wrestling Show. If you're a fan and have a passion for the world of professional wrestling, this is the show for you. I take you inside the ropes with all the athleticism, high-flying, and hard-hitting action, and then we take it backstage with all the backstage drama and backstabbing that goes on in the world of professional wrestling today. If something's going on in the world of professional wrestling, rest assured, the SoCal Saint knows what's going on, and he's going to let you know too. If you're a fan, check us out every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on IE Sports Radio. The IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling, on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports. Check us out.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and a weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
You're back live with Jen B on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And normally Patty would be going after me, but tonight she is taking the day off to spend time with her family for the holidays. So be sure to check her out next Tuesday on the Buffalo Huddle. Now, let's get into some hockey. So the Columbus Blue Jackets played last Tuesday in Buffalo against the Sabres. The Sabres scored first, and then Johnny Gaudreau got a goal to tie things up, and then Adam Fantilli had the go-ahead goal. And then Kirill Marchenko had a goal on a power play. And at the end of one, the Blue Jackets were up 3-1. Kirill Marchenko then had 2 back-to-back goals, bringing the score to 5-1. Marchenko had a hat trick and also scored those 2 goals in the second period in 18 seconds, setting a franchise record. Goodbranson then had a goal. Sean Corrali had a goal. And then the Sabres got a goal. And at the end of 2, the Blue Jackets were up 7-2. Then the Sabres got a goal on a power play, and then they got another goal, and then Cole Sillinger scored a goal, and then Kent Johnson scored a goal, and the final was a 9-4. And that was the second most goals in a single game in franchise history for the Blue Jackets. Thursday, they played the Washington Capitals. The Capitals scored on a power play, and the Blue Jackets were down 1-0 at the end of 1. Cole Sillinger got a goal in the second, then the Capitals got another goal, and the Blue Jackets were down 2-1 at the end of 2. Then Chinnikov scored a goal and tied it up at 2-2, and it was 2-2 at the end of 3, and went into overtime, where the Capitals scored a goal on a power play after a crazy fight in the net between Wilson and Elvis Merzlikins. That resulted in a penalty on Merzlikins, and the rest is history. So they lost 3-2 in overtime. Saturday, they played the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs scored first, then Sean Corrali went to the locker room and play was stopped for a stretcher to come out. It's not really clear what exactly happened. It is an abdominal injury. He was taken to the hospital for observation, but he was released later that night. And the Blue Jackets were down 1-0 at the end of 1. Then Justin Danforth got a goal and tied it up. Then the Maple Leafs scored to take the lead back, and then they got a PowerPoint goal, and at the end of 2, they were up. The Leafs were up 3-1. Then the Maple Leafs scored on a Blue Jackets power play, bringing the score to 4-1, and that was the final. So the Blue Jackets went 1-2 this week. Not great. And Sean Corrali is hurt, so another injury to add to the list. Anywho, the next games are tomorrow at the New Jersey Devils, Friday versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Saturday at the Buffalo Sabres. Now for some monsters, where they actually win hockey games. Wednesday, they played the Rochester Americans and won 5-3. Trey Fix-Wolanski had the first goal on a power play, and it was his 67th goal, tying the franchise record for most goals. Then Jake Christensen had a power play goal, and at the end of 1, the Monsters were up 2-1. At the end of 2, it was tied 2-2. And shout out to It's Drewski in the chat. He is the host of the Heart of Texas show for everything Dallas sports. So be sure to check him out for your Dallas sports news. Then in the third period, Carson Meyer scored a goal. Luca Del Belbaluz had a goal on a power play. Then Cole Clayton scored an empty netter to finish out the win, 5-3. Friday, they played the Syracuse Crunch and won 4-3 in overtime. It was 0-0 at the end of one. Trey Fix-Wolanski had a goal, setting the record for most goals in Monsters history at 68. At the end of two, the Monsters were down 2-1. Then Jake Gaudette scored a goal. Alex Whalen scored a goal to tie the game, and it was 3-3 at the end of three. Then Trey Fix-Wolanski scored the winner in overtime. Saturday, they played the Utica Comets and won 3-2. They were down 1-0 at the end of one. In the second period, Roman Akan and Jake Gaudette scored goals, and it was 2-2 at the end of the second period. Then Carson Meyer scored the go-ahead goal in the third, and that was the final, 3-2. Their next games are Wednesday against the Toronto Marlies, Saturday at the Chicago Wolves, and Sunday at the Grand Rapids Griffins. So hopefully the Monsters can keep winning. Maybe the Blue Jackets can figure out how to win and not score all of their goals in one game. Maybe they could spread them out between multiple games. That would be nice. Once in a while. I mean, 9 in one game is awesome, but you gotta save some of that scoring for the rest of the games during the week. Because they only scored 1 goal in the last game, and I think 2 goals in the other game. But they scored 9 against the Sabres. Whatever, Blue Jackets. I'm just so over the Blue Jackets right now. It's just ridiculous. Like, everybody's hurt, and they just can't seem to get it together for more than one game at a time. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, they're not giving up a ridiculous amount of goals, so I guess that's good. But they really need to figure out this scoring. They're getting a lot of great shots, but they're just not... they're just not getting them in the net. Trusky says, you don't need to be in a scoring drought after putting up a 9 spot. Right? As soon as they did it, I was like, well, that's it for this week. We're done. They scored all their goals in the first game of the week. It's over. But, I mean... I don't know. I mean, their leading scorer is out with a broken jaw, so, I mean, I guess that has something to do with it, but I don't know. They got to figure it out. I know Pascal Vincent has been mixing up the lines a little bit, trying to get a better chemistry, better, I don't know, whatever, better something better. So that they actually score. But, I mean, they are, like I said, they're getting a lot of good shots. It's just, they're just not getting in the net. I mean, and there's only so much you can do about the other team's goaltender being good. So, I mean, it is what it is. But they are, I mean, they're trying, and they do seem a little more cohesive. They're not, all wonky out on the ice. There seems to be a little more chemistry and communication going on. And shout out to Patty Bax, who just hopped in the chat to catch the end of the show. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. And I am about done for tonight. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. I mean, we could talk for hours about the Browns' injuries because the list is probably as long as the quarterback jersey. Oh, yeah. It might be longer than the quarterback jersey, actually. I don't know. It's crazy. Sorry about that. Anywho, But, yeah, so, I mean, we'll see what happens with Dustin Hopkins and Corey Bojorquez. It really sucks making it this far, 10-5, and now we have no kicker or punter. So, I mean, we have no quarterback, we have no running back, so why not have no kicker and no punter? Why not? Let's just keep piling it on. Oh, thanks, Patty. I've been battling this bug for like a month now. It just does not want to go away. I'm doing okay though. It's finally starting to clear up, so hopefully by next week I will sound much better. But these Browns and their injuries, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. So hopefully we could pull out the win against the Jets on Thursday. I'm a little worried going into this on a short week with more injuries. But, it is what it is. Just got to keep doing what we've been doing all season and just keep fighting. Need to get that 1-0 record for this week. Well, I guess it'll be 2-0 technically since they won on Sunday. So they actually have to go 2-0 this week. But we just got to get there. And I think they can do it. And like I said earlier, a win and they're in. And still have a shot at the number 1 seed. Even after Baltimore kicked the pants off the 49ers yesterday. I was so rooting for the 49ers. I was so rooting for the 49ers. They disappointed me. Brock Purdy picked that game of all games to start throwing interceptions. Like, for real, dude? Come on. But whatever. It is what it is. It's over now. Hopefully the Dolphins can beat the Ravens. And who is playing next week, Drewski? The Browns? They're playing the Jets. The Browns play the Jets on Thursday. Yes, the Browns, Ravens, and Dolphins all have a chance at the number 1 seed, as mentioned by Taryn Rodriguez. Yes, and the Browns' last 2 games are the Jets and the Bengals, and the Ravens' last 2 games are the Dolphins and the Steelers, and the Dolphins' last 2 games are the Ravens and the Bills. So we need, in order for the Browns to clinch, the Ravens need to lose to Miami and Pittsburgh, and the Dolphins have to beat Baltimore and lose to Buffalo. So, yes, Patty, go Bills. I need your Bills to beat the Dolphins. So bad. And Drewski says the Browns have a great shot even being injured. Yeah, I am still shocked that they are 10-5 with the injuries. J-Man, host of Spaced Out Sports, our Houston show, just jumped on and said, I don't appreciate y'all tuning up my team like that, LOL. I got to give a shout out to J-Man, though. He was optimistic to the very end. We were having a little go on our band app that we use for the hosts to all communicate with each other, and he was like, we're still gonna win, like the whole game. It was great. I gotta give him a shout out for that optimism. But I mean, heck, they almost did start. They started the comeback when the Browns pulled all their starters. So, I mean, and then the Browns were like, oh, no, everybody back in. And it was funny because Amari Cooper was on the sidelines after they pulled the starters, and he was begging to go back in. And Stefanski was like, nope, not happening, nope. And then then the Texans scored 2 touchdowns on the second stringers, and Mari said, he was like, I was just chilling. I had accepted that I wasn't going back in, and then all of a sudden they're like, you're back in. And it's a good thing, because he wouldn't have gotten that record, that single game record, if he hadn't gone back in. He was 9 yards shy before going back in, and he got a 13 or 14 yard reception to break the record. So that was great for him. He, like I said, he wouldn't have gotten it if he hadn't gone back in. So, and he says he didn't even know about the record. So that's not why he was asking to go back in. He was asking to go back in because he wanted to get to 300 yards receiving. He didn't even know about the record. But Drewski says someone should be coach of the year. I couldn't agree more. I actually just saw the odds earlier today, and Stefanski is actually the odds-on winner as of right now. He surpassed Dan Campbell after this week. So we'll see if he gets it. He's already gotten it once. He got it his first year when the Browns made it to the playoffs the last time, beating Pittsburgh 2 weeks in a row, once in the regular season to get into the playoffs, and then in the wild card round. And then they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs after that awful hit and ridiculous non-call at the goal line where Higgins was almost murdered. But, whatever. We don't hold grudges. We don't hold grudges in Cleveland. No grudges. No grudges. That's a lie. I will hate Baltimore till the day I die. Anywho. But yeah, so the Browns have got to win on Thursday, and they clinch. And then they will be on to Cincinnati to play the Bengals the following Sunday to wrap up the regular season, and maybe, just maybe, I just lost my complete and total train of thought. Anyway, J-Man says, I forgot the guy, but that sack that got called back, then he gets right back on it the next play. Yeah, that was Zadarius Smith. Yeah, so Zadarius Smith got a sack. It was called back on a holding penalty on MJ Emerson, who was just being penalized left and right on Sunday. He was just, I don't know what he was doing out there. He was just grabbing people like crazy. Anywho, so the play got called back because of the penalty, and then on the very next play, Zadarius Smith got a sack again, and that one counted. So Zadarius Smith actually had 2 sacks, and I think JOK had one also. And JOK and Duron Harmon both had interceptions. So, and this one was definitely an interception for JOK, unlike the one last week. That was probably not an interception, but they called it an interception, but it didn't really matter because it was the end of the half. But yeah, so the second was worse too. He blew our center the fuck up. Oh God. It's a good thing I have the explicit tag on, because I probably shouldn't have read that. Sorry. But anyway, before I go into a full-blown coughing fit, I'm going to wrap this up. So that is all for tonight. Thank you for joining me on the Show of the Land, and be sure to follow me on X, Instagram, and Threads at BelieveLandGirl, and on TikTok at Jen.BelieveLand. That's JENN.BelieveLand. And also follow the show for daily updates on Cleveland and Columbus sports on X at Show of the Land IE, And like I said earlier, don't forget to go check out that pinned post and vote for Joe Flacco for FedEx Air Player of the Week. Next up is not the Buffalo Huddle. It is going to be Philly Sports Talk with, I know this, but it's not coming to me right at this moment, with Cash and Chris. But it won't be for another hour or so. But be sure to check them out for everything Philly sports. And the Eagles finally got another win, so be sure to hop on there, because I'm sure they'll have a lot of great stuff to talk about. And be sure to catch me next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Show of the Land for more on Cleveland and Columbus sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great night, Ohio.
What?